Welcome back, everybody. Think about this. Two growing movements across Democrat-led states: defund the police and the hate whitey curriculum known as critical race theory. Now, one of those states dealing with this double whammy is Minnesota. My next two guests want to bring big change to the North Star State. Joining me now is Minnesota State Representative Jerry Munson and the mayor of Lexington, Minnesota, and current state gubernatorial candidate Mike Murphy. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Representative Munson, we'll start with you. You recently introduced a bill that would allow rural red counties to secede from Minnesota to join South Dakota. Give us an update on that legislation. You getting any traction?
Well, I'm certainly getting a lot of support in rural communities, which is the reason why I introduced it. We're losing lots of jobs, and people from our communities that are uprooting themselves and moving to neighboring states. So I've had over 8,000 people that have joined the fight in these communities to bring awareness to this bill and to see if we can push for parity in regulations and taxes with neighboring states. We also have some lawmakers that are discussing introducing it in the Senate and having hearings. So I'm hopeful that will happen in the next session.
Well, you're not alone out there. I mean, I know out in California, they've been looking to, a lot of people in California have been looking to escape that crazy place for a long time. Mr. Mayor, let me turn to you. It's not a good look for a state when a sizable chunk wants to leave. Why are so many people disgusted with the way your state is being run at this point?
It's because our tyrannical leadership in this state has failed us. Governor Tim Walz is a tyrant, and he's led like a tyrant this entire time he's been in office. And it just goes to show you that greater Minnesota has been abandoned. It's a huge issue that all they want to focus on is the metro, Minneapolis and St. Paul, but they don't care about what Tim Walz calls rocks and cows country. And if I'm elected governor, I'm going to represent everyone in Minnesota and make sure that every Minnesotan has a voice. And you don't want to succeed to other states. That's not the way this government should work. Everybody needs to have proper and equal representation across Minnesota.
Mr. Mayor, I want to stay with you. Another one of your mayoral competitors, Mayor Mike Elliott of Brooklyn Center, proposing major changes to the city's police department following the death of Daunte Wright. He's calling for unarmed city staff members to respond to mental health calls as well as traffic stops. Plus, more officers across Minnesota, they're leaving the force because of the unfair treatment they're getting. What is your position on policing?
I think it's nonsense what Mike Elliott is doing in Brooklyn Center. I spent time in law enforcement in the early 2000s, and I lived on that other side of the badge. Traffic stops are one of the most dangerous jobs of law enforcement that you can possibly do. And what are they going to do when one of those so-called social workers or unarmed traffic stop individuals that they're going to send out there dies from doing their job? Who's going to represent them? Where is their movement going to be at? Where is BLM and Antifa going to be at, rioting for their lives and their rights? It's nonsense. Police need to be funded. And that's what we do in my city in Lexington, in my community. We fund our police and we train our police the way that we want them to serve our communities. And it's very easy to do. We just have to fund our law enforcement and hire the right people. And that's how you set up success in law enforcement.
Representative Munson, the Biden administration continuing to push for this racist curriculum known as critical race theory into the government-run schools. Are there any proposals in Minnesota to counteract this? Banning critical race theory, or maybe perhaps a school choice initiative?
Well, I certainly think that people in the communities have learned about this critical race theory, and they're upset. Every week there's more and more testimony in front of school boards, and I think there's a greater interest in people running for school board. This is where we're going to really take back local politics. It's engaged a lot of people, even in conservative areas, that have school board members that are all liberal, pushing this critical race theory. We're in the minority in the Minnesota House, and of course our governor is a Democrat, but this is definitely going to be central to the campaigns this next year. So we'll hear more about this on the campaign trail, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you both could give me about 60 seconds response to this, because I don't know how it is in Minnesota. I can tell you here in Texas, every politician is cowardly, with the exception of one here in Texas, the lieutenant governor, cowardly in front of these school administrators, these educrats, as I call them. Is it the same way where you guys are, or do your politicians actually take an active role in defending your citizens when the school boards and these educrats get out of control? Mr. Mayor, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, they are. They're cowards. They're afraid of the powerful teacher unions, and they're super corrupt in our state. Education Minnesota is one of the most corrupt organizations as far as union goes in this state. Critical race theory cannot be taught. My school board in where I live, Centennial School District, tonight has a meeting regarding critical race theory with a radical organization called Equity Alliance Minnesota. Critical race theory, it's political, anti-American, anti-white extreme ideology, and we can't have that in this country. What happened to teaching our students the basics of reading, writing, math, and letting them decide who they want to be on their own accord when they grow up? We need people to stand up to these corrupt unions and these politicians that have no back, and we need to start voting in people that have skin in the game and that are not afraid to say what needs to be said to change what's going on in this country right now.
Yeah. Representative Munson, what about you? Are you noticing this too? I mean, even among local officials, they just seem to have a great deal of cowardice when children are being harmed by these out. First it was Common Core, now it's critical race theory and whatever's coming up next down the line. Have you noticed this, and doesn't that need to change?
It certainly does need to change. And I think right now the period we're at is really enlightening parents of what's going on. Last week, I posted a 4-minute video that a student captured in classroom where an equity specialist was actually justifying looting buildings, burning buildings down in response to a police officer shooting. And this needs to be exposed. And it's gotten the parents more involved in local politics, and they'll be showing up at the school board meetings.
Representative, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much, gentlemen. We appreciate the discussion from Minnesota.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.